Hi friends, this is chapter 35 of Right to Recall Party Manifesto. Right to Recall Party Manifesto you can download from rahulmehta.com/301.htm. This chapter 35 is on issue of Ram Janambhoomi temple and three important issues: Ram Janambhoomi temple, Kashi Vishwanath, and Krishna Janambhoomi. So as and also government reducing means completely eliminating government control over Hindu temples, mosques and all religious places. So first thing is about Ram Janambhoomi. So these three, and in my opinion only three, mosque should be converted back into temple right at the place where they are located. As far as Kashi Vishwanath and Krishna Janambhoomi goes, there is documentary as well as material evidence that Aurangzeb had destroyed both the temple and had made mosque there. For Ram Janambhoomi, there are all evidences that Babur demolished it and the temple and made mosque there. There is some discrepancy, doubt whether that particular temple was a Ram temple or some other temple, and whether that temple was believed to be Ram Janambhoomi or not. So, but that is not an issue, that is besides the point. The fact that it was believed to be Ram temple for centuries is a sufficient reason for restoration of that temple. And of course, for that matter, there are perhaps 3,000 or some say 30,000. I don't know the exact number right now. I don't remember the exact number. But Indian Archaeological Survey has given a list of about 3,000 mosques which were former temple, and maybe there were more. So my agenda is very clear that I am confining to three and only three former temples, and do not believe in extending the agenda any further. So how can it be done? Using TCP? TCP draft I have given in section 1.3. Section 1.3 of 301.htm, that any citizen can put an affidavit and any citizen can register yes, no. So using TCP we can restore Ram Janambhoomi, Krishna Janambhoomi and Kashi Vishwanath. Now next comes eliminating control of government from all religious places. So for that I have made a proposal what is called as Hindu Community Trust, National Hindu Community Trust, State Hindu Community Trust and Sect Hindu Community Trust. A sect means Swaminarayan Community Trust, or there could be others such as Swadhyay Parivar, or any sect can form a community trust, and that community trust they will have clear demarcation of voting member and non-voting member. The Hindu Community Trust will be initially formed by government, and then control will be handed over to the elected authority. Who will elect? Every Hindu will become a voting member of the Hindu Community Trust, and that community trust will have only 4 temples under it. Which 4 temples? Ram Janambhoomi, Kashi Vishwanath, Krishna Janambhoomi and Amarnath temple located in Kashmir. Then there will be State Hindu Community Trust, will be formed by state. Then every Hindu will be made member of that, and it is his discretion whether he wants to vote or not. If he doesn't want to member, he can resign from his membership, and on any day he can resume the membership. So that will depend on the person whether he wants to become retain his membership, or whether he wants to rescind from membership. Technically it is called rescinding or cancelling his own membership. But whatever is the member, they will elect the head of the trust, and he will be recallable. So all temples which are currently under government will come under State Hindu Community Trust, and the trust which are already under private trust as of today will continue as today till they convert themselves into community trust. Now in community trust, the existing trustee will form the trust and he will make members. He can't deny membership, and he will decide who are the voting members and who are the non-voting members. But once he makes a particular person voting member, he cannot convert him into non-voting member. All these drafts are given on my website. If you want very clear picture, I request you to study SGPC, Sikh Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. All the Hindu Community Trust Act that I have proposed are, you can say, carbon copy of SGPC that is already there. In SGPC, every Sikh is a voting member. They elect the head of Akal Takht and they elect the head region wise, etc. And the head who are elected by the Sikh, they manage the Gurudwara and other temple funds, the Gurudwara funds. So same way, the temple funds as well as temple property will be managed by this community trust. So once again, this community trust will be formed by government initially, but once they are formed, the member that is all Hindus residing in that state or all Hindus residing in India will elect the head and he will be recallable. So that will ensure that the temples do not become inheritable property, because the most important reason why Hinduism suffered means once upon a time it was from Afghanistan to Philippines, and it was from Uzbekistan to all the way to Sri Lanka. And today Sri Lanka, Burma are Buddhist, so still at least they are part of Indic religion. But the rest of the region, Hinduism has practically disappeared from those regions, and one of the important reasons was that the temple became private property and inheritable property. I have explained this in other videos in which I have explained the basic difference between administration of religion. I see religion is different from administration of religion. One portion of religion is the religious belief, mythological tales, all that. For example, in one religion there are gods like Hindu religion, there is gods called Ram, Krishna, etc. Some other religion has figures called Jesus and so forth. Other religions will have other religious figures like Prophet Muhammad or whatever. But there is a separate portion of religion which I call as administration of religion and administration of temple property and temple funds. And that is differ that in Hindu law most of the temple are private property of the temple owner and it passes from one hand to another by inheritance. In Sikh, the Gurudwara are community property of all the Sikhs. In Muslim, mosque is a community property. It is rarely a private property except Jama Masjid and few exceptions. Otherwise, all mosques are community. They won't call it property. It's not a community asset, you can say. Property is not a right word to say. And similarly, in case of church, in case of Catholic, the church is property of Catholic, but there is no inheritance because church cannot marry, he cannot have children, and the head priest, Pope, is elected by 300 cardinals all over the world. It is not that the Pope who is dying will appoint his successor. In most Hindu temples, the temple head or the owner of the trust, he appoints the successor. Not so in Christianity. The cardinals are promoted. Everyone starts from elder boy or a priest. For a long time he has to serve as a priest in a very in a church, and one condition for promotion is that he must serve in adverse areas. It is not easy to become a cardinal, and Pope cannot make his relative as a cardinal. Pope cannot promote anybody and everybody he likes. And there are some 150 to 300 cardinals all over the world. They meet at Vatican City and they elect the new pope. So there is no inheritance. And all the church are collective property. Catholic Church are collective property. In Protestant, the priest can marry, but the church is community asset. There is no inheritance. And in the community trust, Hindu community structure I have proposed is the same. There is no inheritance. The temples are asset of the community, and the community will elect the leaders. And also I have proposed the bylaws that one person cannot become leader for more than 8 years. His relatives cannot become committee members, and if a person is once his term ends, his close relative should be discouraged. We cannot make a law that his relative cannot become a next head, but as a voting principle, his head should be discouraged. So all these things have nothing to do with religious belief. They are about administration of religion. So the question comes is that should government interfere into it? The secularism does not stop government from interfering into temple administration, because finally government has to manage everything. Even today government is managing temples. It is just that it is managing in a bad way. Why it is managing in a bad way? Because we don't have right to recall CM. So what CMs are doing is that they are taking over temple, and then they are CM and collector and all these people, and they are eating away whatever 10, 20, 30% of the money, and the remaining money they give it to the powerful entity like missionary. This problem is zero in Gujarat, by the way. In Gujarat, government has not interfered with temple management. Very rarely, and when they interfere, if there is a dispute among trustee, they will hand over control to one or another trustee, but government does not keep the control over the temple in its own hand. But in places like Andhra Pradesh, Rajshekhara Reddy and Surpankha Gandhi, they both colluded, and they forced and bribed both the district collector, and they started taking over temple assets. And now most of the temples are under government, and the money that they obtain from the temple is used for nefarious activity like conversions and all that. And all this will end once this Community Trust Act is passed. Thank you.